Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? This is Amanda. It's the 17th of January as I sit down to talk to you today. And we're going to be having a look at the energies that are coming in on the back of this supermoon. We have a new moon in Aquarius on the 21st, 22nd of January of this month. And in addition to that, how we can prepare and get ready for what is revealed. I feel as though what gets revealed is a truer, more authentic expression of who we are, having purged and cleansed emotions, stuck energies, hurts that we might have been carrying for a long time. I mean, the truth is the spiritual path is all about trying to come to terms with maybe things that have happened to us in our life, our place in the greater universe, to heal what needs to be healed, to stand in our power. It's a continuing theme that we will come back to time and time again. But it does feel as though this week is bringing in a very, very potent brew of healing and recovery. It isn't particularly an easy ride, she said, her voice starting to croak. You'll have to excuse me because I'm actually feeling a little bit under the weather. But I wanted to get this message out to you because how I'm feeling is almost like a live feed of, I think, what many people are experiencing at the moment in different ways. So I'm going to tell you about a dream that I had last night that is very revealing, linked into where we block and self-sabotage our own healing, and also maybe our fears around it. I'll come to that in a moment. But I sort of need to bring my YouTube crowd up to speed with where we are at, because I put 2 short videos out yesterday on Instagram and Facebook. And those of you that haven't seen those, it's going to make more sense if I just explain a little bit, just to bring you up to speed. So what basically happened was I put the first video out yesterday on the 16th of January, and I was talking about the fact that where we have toxicity within the body or in our emotions or our mind, our thoughts, our life, so it can be situations, it can be the body, it can be anything. Where there is toxicity, we are being asked to have a big clear out. Real big clear out. And in terms of the physical body and our health and wellness, I had been talking about the analogy of needing to have some type of space or slack within the body so that when, for example, something happens, or I use the example of sugar, you have the sugary cake or the sugary drink, your system isn't already ram-jam full of, for example, sugar. Because if you keep putting sugar in, you're going to get a reaction, okay? You're going to maybe feel unwell. I came down with a UTI, urinary tract infection, a few days ago, which is why I'm feeling a little bit off balance and not particularly great. But I do want to get this message out because it's important, and it also helps my healing journey as well. So that was one example. So when you know that maybe you need to detoxify, but you haven't, and then you put more, crap basically into the body's just saying, no, we're not having that anymore. You need to now sort this out. You need to create the space within for a healthier climate. Our body at the end of the day is the temple of the soul and should be respected. The reasons why we maybe, for example, overconsume sugar or anything else is usually covering up something that we haven't wanted to look at, a wound. And this new moon in Aquarius is asking us to look at what that wound is and to try to help to heal it so that we can move forward more into this Aquarian energy, which is about new innovative ways, new innovative ideas, new ways of being. How can any of that come in at a personal level or a collective level if we haven't created space for it? So you might be having issues with your body, which is suddenly saying, you're not, I don't want you to do that anymore, whether it's diet, exercise, anything else. Another way that this overflow energy might be manifesting is via unexpected volcano moments, anger that is arising from anywhere, that you suddenly, shout at somebody or do something or say something, whether it's online or in person, that is actually out of character with who you really are. But again, it's like the valve that just blows because there is all this other anger and frustration maybe within that you haven't dealt with. You haven't looked at the wound that's under there that's causing the anger and frustration in the first place. So you take it out on somebody else or yourself or whatever. None of it is healthy. It might be that you're around a toxic situation or a toxic job or a toxic relationship. And again, it's like you've had your fill of it. But then something happens within that relationship, within that job, within that situation, and it is the tipping point. That's really where we're at right now. So we're at a very precarious place, but also a very beautiful place. Because actually, it's showing us in stark black and white what needs to be done, what's out of balance, and what we need to do to get ourselves back into a greater state of harmony. Yesterday when I was explaining this on the video and also saying that I feel as though a lot of what is arising right now is looping back to the past, particularly maybe childhood patterns, and indeed looping back maybe even to the womb. Water, 2023, the year of water. Where do we first experience water? We experience it within the womb. I posed the question to people, what was going on with your mother when you were in the womb? How was she feeling? How was she reacting to the world? What was going on within the world? Remember, we all are a reflection of everything. Everything is within us. So, for example, the baby in the womb is picking up the collective energy because it's coming through the mother. What is the mother's filter of that collective energy? Is she going into fear, panic, or is she expanding into joy? No judgment at all in terms of whatever the parent did or didn't do, but it can have long-term effects. So it's like we're going right back. We're going maybe back to the waters in the womb. We're going back to maybe childhood incidences. We're going back to something that's much more recent, but something is looping back. And it's looping back right now because of this powerful supermoon. Because we have it in Aquarius, as I say, trying to birth the new. But I said yesterday, and I hadn't looked at the astrology of it other than I knew it was a supermoon in Aquarius. I said, it's really strange. It feels like it's not an Aquarian moon. It feels like it's a Capricorn moon. And I really felt that. And I was feeling it because of all of this energy of toxicity that was coming through. Toxicity links into, for example, like the Devil card in the tarot, that which chains us to the past, that which chains us to behaviours and thought patterns that we know are not ideal, but we still keep doing them anyway. It's that Capricorn energy. And then I just re-looked and thought, what is this all about? And actually it turns out that this new moon in Aquarius has Pluto in the last degrees of Capricorn. And what I'm hearing Metatron say is we're almost in last chance saloon, okay? Maybe as a collective, but also personally. That doesn't mean anything calamitous is going to happen if you don't purge and try to heal and shift this week. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to shift from one position to another, from one state of being to another. Doesn't mean that anything calamitous happens. It just means if you don't take this opportunity, you're going to stay on that same track of whatever it is. It might be apathy. It could be victimhood. It could be ever decreasing illness or a state of dis-ease. Dis-ease, not being at ease in your body. So your body gives you a UTI, or it gives you a headache, or it gives you a backache, or it gives you whatever, it's time to read the body and it's time to really listen to the body. Because if we're truthful, these last degrees of Pluto in Capricorn, Pluto shining the lights, going into the depths, the dark depths of our psyche, of our being, to look at what is there, what is toxic, what is holding us back. We already know what it is. And many of us have been burying our head in the sand, myself included, in terms of behaviours, new habits that need to come in to support the new body that wishes to arrive. Because if we're going into new earth energy, we need the new crystalline body. It's last chance saloon. It's like you're either going to get it now or you're not. The amazing, beautiful thing about this message that I'm delivering to you is actually you can get it. I can't express, but I'm sure some of you are resonating with the fact that this year, this January so far, it's as though suddenly there's this energy of, I can do this. I can conquer whatever it is that you need to conquer. This loop that I've been on, I called it a never-ending story yesterday, this never-ending story of something in my life that I just feel is unsolvable, unhealable, I can't let go of for whatever reason. We are being helped if we help ourselves right now. So yes, you've got to take the first step yourself, but then you'll be supported tenfold by spirit to come in behind you, and they give you the wings to fly. So these actually are very strong, fortuitous days for those that are brave enough to go into them. I was also shown by Metatron, I'll tell you about my dream in a moment, but a few days ago I was shown by Metatron very clearly the arrowhead and how we have to be like the arrowhead right now. So we are moving forward, and like the arrow is ever pointing forward. It's very focused on where it needs to get to, where it's going. If it's been shot well into the air elemental, it glides. It's like the plane that manages to find the right thermal. And via that motion, it becomes easier to move forward. But the thing about the arrowhead is it's always focused on this bit at the front. It's not so worried about all the back chatter that it's leaving back here. Because make no mistake about it, my friends, if you're trying to make movement forward and vibrate higher, ascend higher, you are going to have all of this sort of, well, effectively it's shadow energy, but it's other people's shadow energy coming at you to try to thwart you, to try to bring that arrow down. Because the point is, when you raise yourself higher, it can make other people feel inadequate. That's not your fault. That is their stuff that they're dealing with. You're not doing it to make other people feel inadequate. You're not doing it because you feel as though you're better than anybody else. But the truth is, at a very deep level, when you really tackle your stuff, it makes other people feel, well, it brings in the energy to other people that, why am I not also able to do that? Okay. So I was shown the arrowhead, but, be aware there's all this ruffling of feathers taking place as you keep moving forward. As you get higher, as you ascend more, as you vibrate more from a love frequency, anything that is not that is going to try and thwart you. So be prepared for that. Shield yourself with the techniques that I've taught you over the years, and other people I'm sure have as well. On my channel, I talk about wearing the armor of God, wearing Archangel Michael's blue shield of protection, etc. But most of all, it's the frequency of love that keeps you safe in our world. So the arrowhead. Now let me come to my dream that I had last night. I'm also going to pull some cards today. I'm also going to drink quite a bit of water in this video, so hold on. My dream. Right. Might just have to close my eyes so I can remember it properly. So in my dream last night, first thing to say is this could have been an astral dream. It felt as though I was actually connecting with quite a few of you last night. As mad as that sounds, I know it doesn't sound mad to those of you that get this type of work and know it's totally possible, but I actually feel this was a bit more than a dream. It feels as though I was running a workshop in astral. So in this workshop in astral, I was doing what I have done for a while, for a long time. I was teaching about Archangel Metatron. And I was attuning people to the frequency of Archangel Metatron. I became aware that the group was receiving the attunement and the transmission. And attunement, by the way, just means to be in alignment with a frequency. So what the teacher is doing is helping you to become in alignment with something. So the attunement energy was going out. The group was sort of sitting in a horseshoe shape, which Metatron says is significant now because a horseshoe obviously links into the energy of good luck. For some reason, I become aware in my dream that this attunement energy is going on for quite a long time. It's a bit like when you do a meditation, and when you go really, really deep in meditation, it can sometimes be quite hard to come back. And anybody that teaches knows this. If you teach people meditation, sometimes you can get people into such a deep state that as the teacher of the group, it's actually much harder work, because then it's like, hello, you've got to come back, come back. We need to do the rest of the workshop, and then you've got to ground them, etc. So in my dream, I become aware that I need to bring the group back. It's been going on a while, longer than normal, much longer than normal. But I don't question it. Metatron is in charge after all at the end of the day. The group come back, and there is the normal thing whereby you go round the room and you ask people about their experiences. I'm aware that the vibration in the room is beautiful. It's very light and everyone seems to be okay until I get to one particular person. I think they're male, not that that really matters, but I'm going to say it anyway in case it does, because it might represent our divine masculine energy being thwarted. But it's a masculine energy I become aware of in the group. And all of a sudden, this person reveals who they are. And they haven't received the attunement at all. In fact, they have this devil energy. It's not the devil energy that's standing in the dream, but definitely a shadow person, let's put it that way. Very dark. It completely spooks the rest of the group. And there's one lady in particular who I see, and she's shaking like this. I'm not rocked really, I'm more surprised that this attunement energy has happened, it's been received, but one person in the group has rejected it, full on rejected it. And not only rejected it, has tried to taint the rest of the group, okay? Because the group are frightened now. I stand up, and I remember I reach for a particular spray. I reach for the white sage, okay? So I reach for the white sage. I spray the group with white sage. I then wake up. I know what I would have done if I hadn't woken up, because in my dream, I'm spraying them with white sage, which is a smudging, it's a clearing spray, just to, help with that. Oh yes, the other thing I'd done is I had asked the person to leave the group. That's right, I'd asked the person to leave the group. And indeed, I'd actually even gone as far as to put their chair outside the room. I'd put it outside the room and I was saging their chair as well. They had left the building. And I'd said, go in peace, but you're not welcome. This is not happening. You're not ruining this for everybody else. Please leave. I wake up, but I also know that after I'd smudged, I was going to bring in the energy of love. I wake up and I think, that's a strange old dream, isn't it? And then the penny drops that the person who had rejected what everybody else had received wasn't the devil in disguise, didn't need to have been shunted out of the room and the chair as well. They were just the manifestation of everybody else's shadow energy in the room that was maybe questioning, fearful, etc. Because the truth is, when you come to, let's take it away from attunement now, it could be anything. It could be communion. I remember the first time, when I was a kid, teenager, you have lessons. Sounds a bit strange now, but you go to church and you have a study course to be prepared for confirmation. That's what I'm trying to say, So it's any big spiritual moment, really, whether it's in the spiritual community, whether it's in more traditional religion, a moment where there's great significance. And it's beautiful and it's light, and you go through that portal and you absolutely do receive the blessings. But you can't get away from this other aspect within you, this monkey on your shoulder, whatever you want to call it, which is wanting you to doubt your faith, is wanting you to doubt whether it really works. This is a load of old cobblers, isn't it? You know, it's the doubting Thomas that we all have within us. Doubting Thomas, the disciple who Jesus showed himself to. Jesus was in front of Thomas and Thomas still didn't believe. Show me your wounds and then I will believe. I have to have proof. I have to have physical proof. Otherwise I don't believe you. It's the self-saboteur energy. It's the doubt energy. It's the fear energy that we all have to a degree. That's what the person in the room represented. And that's why everyone was so spooked by this person. So I felt that was a really, really profound dream, particularly linked into what I'm wanting to do with this work today, which is to help us to see our fear, to see our doubt, to see our self-saboteur in the room. Can the self-saboteur in the room stand up, please, now and be counted? Are we ready to face them? Taking it back to the everyday. So, for example, am I ready to face why, for example, I turn to sugar, to camouflage something, to keep a lid on something that I don't want to look at? It's childhood energy, you know? Inner child demanding to be heard, will be heard. And it's coming in just before Aquarius new moon, because the child within you is crystalline. The child within you absolutely wants to run, laughing and screaming with joy into this new ocean of love and light. But there's a wounded part of that child, which is like feeling as though it can't, or it won't, or it's not allowed, or if it does it, what's going to happen as a consequence? You know? So we're bringing up big childhood wounds here, and also the energy, as I say, of fear and doubt. That's where we sort of are. I'm going to pull some cards at this point. I'm going to suggest some remedies. They're not the only remedies. Those of you that watch me, many of you are healers. There's all sorts of different therapies and modalities out there. The spiritual path is littered with lots of brilliant things to pick up and read or try and do. You know, whether it's, I don't know what it is, whether it's affirmations, whether it's body work, you know, movement work, Tai Chi, that type of thing. Whether it is hands-on healing, whether it's prayer, whether it's journaling, whether it's counselling, whether it's talking it out. That's the other interesting thing about this particular week. Yesterday, when I started to talk about this on my other accounts, I said the wrong date. I said it was the 26th of January, and it's not. It was actually the 16th of January. Now, I often do that because I just do. I sort of jump timelines a lot, and working with spirit as I do, sometimes your, you know, past, present and future can be a bit blurred. But I said the 26th of January, but I thought, as well as it being Australia Day, okay, so apparently, so I will hopefully try and do something for Australia. I looked back and it's about this, the 26th of January, which is just after this moon that's coming. It says, speak particularly kindly around the 26th of January. There is a Mercury clash with Chiron, which could be intense. Now, Mercury is our words, and Chiron is our deepest wound, the wounded healer. What is it? And you may very well be a healer, whether that's an artist, a musician, a hands-on healer, a counsellor, a teacher, whatever you are. Or you might be the healer within your family. This is very common as well. You're the one person in your family that's come in to try and break the chains. You're the strong one in the family. You're the strong one in the relationship, etc. But words are very important coming up. And it's the words that we say to ourselves. Hold on a minute. I'm just being reminded of something Metatron said to me earlier today that I'm just trying to get back. Can you just remind me of what you said about words earlier? Okay. It was something along the lines of That's right. When I was putting on the armour of God today, those of you that don't know, just very quickly, I always just show you this. Where's my little card gone? Well, I know what it is off the top of my head anyway, but we've got the cards that we sell. Here they are. Helmet of salvation, breastplate of righteousness, belt of truth, shield of faith, sword of the spirit, feet that walk in peace. When I was putting that on this morning on myself and on my children, I heard Metatron say, you can also wear this to help you with other people's words, other people's unhealed wounding that's coming out in vicious verbal attacks at the moment. I have to be honest, I've been amazed since passing 100k on YouTube. It's been beautiful and I love it in terms of new people finding me, wonderful. But of course, some of the people that are finding me, a lot of them are subscribing, but some of the others are like, they're really triggered, which is fine. It's all part of the course, but the words, spiteful words. So Metatron saying words, other people's energy, that's also what the armour of God is very much good for. And you're going to need it over the next couple of weeks in particular. I'm just warning you all, whether you've got a YouTube channel or not is completely irrelevant. It's just other people's carelessness is what Metatron's saying. Sometimes people don't appreciate that, and I'm talking here everyday life, your everyday life, something that can be said in passing that you then think nothing of. And then that person has held on to that for the next 6 months, the next year, the next decade. We have to be very, very mindful of our words because they can trigger people's Chiron wound in the next couple of weeks. They can also trigger our wound. So the language we say to ourselves has to be very loving, it has to be very kind, has to be very compassionate. Okay? So for example, when I came down with this UTI again, I used to suffer from them all the time as a kid. So this is looping right back to childhood. I know what it's all about and I'm clearing it now. But the point is, I didn't go into judgment on my body or, irritation on my body. It was like, what are you trying to say to me? What am I supposed to learn here? What am I supposed to change? Yeah? And the answers were screamingly obvious anyway. But as I say, Pluto in the last degree of Capricorn hadn't wanted to go there until the last minute possible. And why? And this isn't just my stuff, guys. I am your mirror. I will say, I think a large part of it, why a lot of us wait until the last possible moment, is because there's a big control energy. We like to control the show. We just like to control the show. And sometimes why we have been trying to control the show, and by the show I mean our life, is because it's a self-protective mechanism that kicked in very young when we were kids. So maybe there was a situation around you or a relationship around you or something that happened where you did not feel in control. And so at some level of being, you put a layer of control around something. It could be food. I remember as a kid having issues with food as well. And that was clearly something which I felt I would have I will have control over food, and I will only eat what I want to eat, and I won't eat that, and I won't eat that, and I'll hide my food, and I'll stuff it up my sleeves, and all of this type of stuff. A bit of an eating disorder going on looking back on it. Wasn't diagnosed, but it would have been classified as that now. That was my area where I could control something, because the rest of it, I couldn't. Is this resonating? Yes, I think so with many of you. If it wasn't food, it would be something else. So, and again, food is the big comforter, isn't it? Food is the big comforter. And we're brought up in a society, aren't we, everybody, where we are rewarded with the wrong things. Society wants to reward you with the big sugary cake or the big donut or whatever it is. And there's no judgment here. I remember when I became a mother, and I remember saying the ignorance of before birth, I will never give my children sweets. I will never give my children. Yes, I did. I'm as guilty as probably the last generation that have done that. Because we're in a loop. We keep repeating the patterns. Pluto in the last degree of Capricorn. Supermoon in Aquarius is really asking us to change. And if we can change ourselves, we change the future generations. We have to be our best role model. And by that, we then become the role model for others. Okay? We can do this. We absolutely can do this. I know somebody recently who has just given up alcohol, who had a real problem with it. I know the same person had a real issue with cigarettes. I don't know, 40, 60 a day for about 40 years plus. Gave it up like that with the determination and the strength which just was given. But you've got to take the first step and put your hand up and say, I can. I'm not suggesting anybody goes cold turkey. You know, get the support, get the support that you need for whatever it is that you're trying to let go of. But be like the arrowhead that knows it can keep moving forward, and forget the others, forget the back chatter. I've got this Bren Brown thing on my desk for me to always see. And you will probably know this quote of hers, but it says, dare to lead. But this is for all of us, because if you're going to be the arrowhead, you're going to be leading. You're going to be changing patterns that other people don't want to change around them. Anyone that's ever been on a diet knows that. You lose a bit of weight, you start to look good, and then the well-meaning friend, or are they, will bring you the great big box of chocolates, the big wine to celebrate your 2-pound loss or whatever it is, and then you put it all back on again. The self-saboteurs can be external as well as internal. So you are being asked to lead here. You're being asked to captain your own ship. This is the quote. It says, it's about comments, but it's really the bit at the bottom I like. It says, don't grab hurtful comments and pull them close to you by rereading them and ruminating on them. Don't play with them by rehearsing your badass comeback. And whatever you do, don't pull hatefulness close to your heart. Let what is unproductive and hurtful drop at your feet of your unarmoured self. And no matter how much your self-doubt wants to scoop up the criticism and snuggle with the negativity so it can confirm its worst fears, or how eager the shame gremlins are to use the hurt to fortify your armour, take a deep breath and find the strength to leave what is mean-spirited on the ground. You don't even need to stomp it or kick it away. Cruelty is easy, cheap, and chicken shit. It doesn't deserve your energy or engagement. Just step over the comments and keep daring, always remembering that armour is too heavy a price to pay to engage with cheap seat feedback. It's that cheap seat feedback. I would also include our shadow in this. That those comments of what ultimately are destruction that we have within our own head that says, go on, it won't hurt. Just one more time, you know? Whether you're a gambler wanting to go back in and have one more stake, you know, you've already lost a load of money, but one more time won't hurt. Or one more glass won't hurt. One more chocolate bar won't hurt. One more this, one more that. It's, you know, those voices that we all have, which is the shadow, don't let it win, basically. It's a good quote. It's called Dare to Lead. You've got to lead your own show. You are allowed to wear Arm of God, though. Right, let's pull some cards. Okay, let's get some cards for the Aquarian new moon. Keep drinking the water, guys. Keep drinking the water. I definitely hadn't been drinking enough water. Lesson learnt. Again. Right. I'm using a tarot deck to start. The Arcanium Tarot is what I'm using. I'm feeling there's 5 cards in here. That one's just pulled over. Pulled over? What am I going on about? Has jumped out is what I'm trying to say. Interesting I said pulled over though, isn't it? Very interesting that I said pulled over. Look what's on the bottom of the deck. There's no such mistake. Right, because it's the Ace of Swords and the Four of Swords, I said pulled over. Metatron's showing me now, you know when you're driving a car and you're tired and you pull over onto hopefully a safe space, right, safe space, to rest. You can't drive if you're too tired. If you need a break, you have to pull into the services, etc. We all know that. The Four of Swords is about needing to take a break and rest. Basically to be stopped. Whether it is by a bug, a virus, an infection, something that happens, it could be anything. You need the rest because then you see the truth. And I think the body in particular is stopping a lot of people in their tracks at the moment. The truth, we just need to get it. We just need to get it, guys. And I include myself in that. Metatron's saying proof is in the pudding as well. And that's one of my favourite expressions too, which is that there's no point just getting it and then just carrying on with old patterns. That's not getting it. This is again something I said yesterday because, okay, thank you for reminding me, Metatron. When I'm talking about the fact that we're in a loop back to things in the past that feel unsolvable and unhealable, at a mental level, we might get why they're happening. So we might get that there's a lesson in what we're going through, that maybe we're completing karma, that maybe the really difficult relationship you've got is, I don't know, teaching you resilience or patience. Or one of you yesterday in the comments was talking about nursing a mentally unwell child. That must be really, really difficult. So at a physical level, you get maybe why it's happening in terms of, I don't know, a soul contract that person came in with to dive to the depths, to then rise again, hopefully. Maybe as a parent, your part of the contract was to be the carer in that respect, to go above and beyond the call of duty, to learn something from feeling powerless, actually, in a way. You know, if you've got a child that's very unwell, as a parent, we want to make it better, don't we? We want to make it completely better. Of course we do. But what if you can't? Because it's actually the child's journey. I think this was an older child, like a teenager, whatever. What if you can't make it better? Because it's their journey. You can support, but you can't wave the magic wand and suddenly make their mind okay. So what's that all about? Maybe it's about surrender. Maybe it's about trust. Maybe it's about faith. Maybe it's about asking for support. Lots of things. That's just one example. So the mental mind gets it at and again, you have to be at a high frequency to be able to get that. Because it's not about going into victimhood or anything like that. It's about, okay, I get why this is happening. But the physical body gets so tired. Because before we incarnate, we're so enthusiastic about coming here. And we're so enthusiastic about, can you join me on this trip back down to earth? You know, you were the person who really betrayed me last time, or who I really betrayed last time. You know, really kicked me in the guts. But actually, can you come back and play this part? Can you be that one who does whatever in this lifetime? And let's have another go. And now you be this and I be that. And we're really enthusiastic. And then you get here and you forget that. At some level, you remember it if you're on your spiritual path, but you sort of forget it otherwise. And it's bloody hard. It's like, what the hell did I sign up this for? Why did I sign up to come into this family? Why did I sign up to have this parent? Etc. All of that. So you understand it, but the body is like so tired. So this is about rest. What's that expression that you can't move forward until you've sometimes drawn back? It's like the arrow. The arrow has to be drawn back. The bow has to be drawn back before the arrow can be launched. I mean, some of us are already in the air, but we've had to go backwards. And indeed, maybe we're riding a thermal at the moment where even though we're on a forward path, we're just being pulled back a bit. It's like if you've ever rowed a boat down a stream and you hit a particular bit of the stream and you're just going against the current. So you are sort of determined to still keep going, but actually you're being pulled back or you're not moving forward, but you just got to wait for the current to change. Wait for the thermal to change, it will do. So we have the Ace of Swords and the Four of Swords. This is a lot of mental energy. It's all about the mind. And of course, Aquarius is an air sign. So this is also about us pausing to receive the new ideas that want to come in, hopefully when we have had a good clear out. And remember, you don't have to clear all of it out. We are like the layers, we are like the onion. We have many different layers. You take off one layer, there'll be another layer. It's the spiritual path is a journey where there's always going to be another corner. There's always going to be something else to learn, something else to do, something else to receive, something else to give. But this is a tough bit of the onion skin that's being taken off right now. Okay? And it's definitely linked into our mental thoughts. Look at that, Justice. This is decision time. This is decision time. It almost feels like the heavens above are, put it this way, Metatron's making me laugh. He's saying, if you could see everyone's guides right now, okay, and Metatron's my guide as well, so I include myself in this. It's like the guides are looking down at us thinking, okay, what is he or she going to do with this then? So they're feeling exactly like they did in whenever, or they're triggered right back to when they were whatever, and when something happened, but they've already gone through, a few laps with this. They've already done a bit of healing on it. They got some understanding, but they're still looping back. Even though we've given them help and assistance, they're still looping back. What are they going to do with it this time? It's literally like I'm being shown we've got the ball. It's like like a football or a baseball. So like, oh, okay, we've got it. It's like, right, what are you going to do with it now? Are you going to just pass it on? Because it's like, I don't want to look at that. Or are you gonna face it? It's a bit like Castaway, Tom Hanks. It's what was that baseball he had? Winston, was it Winston? But Winston, at the end of the day, represented his fears. He put his psyche into that, didn't he? Into that shapeless, inanimate object. It became his friend. It became everything. It became his world. Look at your world that you've got in your hands. What are you going to do with it? Okay, so we've got Justice. Chickens are coming home to roost. I have no idea if that expression crosses cultures or not, but it's a good one that I use a lot here. The Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, it's just the Two of Pentacles. I mean, the cards are just repeating what I've basically said. Oh, I'm going to have that one, Three of Cups as well. Okay, let me show you what the cards are, but basically it's a repetition of what I've said. So I've explained the Ace of Swords, I've explained the Four of Swords. Okay, truths coming in, needing some downtime to integrate them, reflect, make changes, create space and slack, which includes time. It includes we need to create time for the changes. So if you're ram-jam full with a load of pointless things that you're doing every day, that don't really need to be done, you need to be looking at how you're spending your time as well. Judgment, okay? You need to be creating the space for it, the time for new ideas and change. Because the wheel is turning. This is destiny. And then we have the Two of Pentacles repeating which choice you're going to make. You're going to go that way, you're going to go that way. What are you going to do? But ultimately we get to the Three of Cups, which is celebration. And I actually feel as though for many people, I can't say it's for everyone's, because there's free will out there in our universe, and you either are going to get it and do something with it or you're not. And if you don't do it this time, it's going to come round again and again and again. It's going to be like Groundhog Day. It's better if you just take the bull by the horns and do it now. if you do it, the guides are like, yay! And the ancestors are like, yay! They got there, they did it. They've seen that actually maybe the pattern that you've got, maybe the gambling addiction, or the alcohol addiction, or the sugar addiction, or the nicotine addiction, or the gossip addiction, or the social media addiction, or whatever it is, or the rabbit hole addiction. Going down the rabbit hole, it's okay to go down there, as Metatron says, but don't stay down there forever. I'll give you a hand up. Whatever the addiction is, there will be a pattern in the family. There will be a grandfather or a grandmother or a great-grandfather or a great-aunt. And it might not have been social media addiction, but it was some other addiction. I can absolutely guarantee you that. Okay? Or pattern, or thought process, or work, Metatron's saying, is another big one. And I will say this, because definitely I've had a workaholic tendency my whole life. This year, I'm still going to be showing up. I'm still going to be working. But I'm going to be doing it on my terms. And I know this is a collective energy as well. I know many of you are feeling this. I said to my team yesterday, and I think they're probably all feeling the same. It's like there's an end to people pleasing. There's an energy coming in which is like, I'm going to work and I'm going to love it, because I always have, but I'm going to do it on my terms. And that is about balance. It's about getting the harmony back. I've actually bought myself, I haven't got it to show you, it's downstairs in the kitchen, but we've bought this great big year planner for the year. And it's called Fun Things to Do. And it's got every single day of the year is there. It's just got this banner, Fun Things to Do. And at the moment, we've got a few things on there, but we need to plan much more. But the point is, it's reminding myself, all of us, that you need to have fun as well. You've got to carve out space for fun. So that's just one example, okay? I don't know how I got onto that, but anyway, maybe somebody needed to hear it. It's a good idea, I think, because you have to carve out time for everything. Oh, workaholism, that's what I was saying. Yeah, exactly. So that's like a little visual reminder. Actually, that weekend, no, you're not going to work that weekend. That week, you're not even going to be in the country. Then you're going to take 3 weeks off, or whatever it is, So that's the difference between getting that, for example, I have a trait to be a workaholic, and absolutely that runs through my family. My dad was like it. I don't know what his father was like, but it tracks back. So I get it. It's not good enough anymore to just get it. We've got to do something about it. But then you need things to support you in that. So for me, it's just that memo board downstairs. And when I go there and I look at it and there's absolutely nothing for February planned, which is fun. You know what I'm trying to say, because obviously I do enjoy my work as well, but just trying to support changes. So those are the cards that came out of that deck. Anything else to say before I pull from another deck? Don't think so. I think they're pretty clear, aren't they? I'm finding crystals very supportive at this time. I've got this beautiful piece of ocean jasper, which I've showed you in a few videos. And I will just pull up the meaning of ocean jasper. It's good for, it's very soothing. It's very linked into the energy of water. It's a stone of strength and renewal with a slow, steady frequency and a deep circular energy that embodies the interconnectedness of all things. It's known as the Atlantis stone. But I'm being pulled to that for the moment. It's very good for helping us to lay our burdens aside, let go, bring in the energy of peace, attune to nature. But whatever crystal you're attracted to, what I would encourage you is that when you have identified what is arising for me, remember, let's go back to the devil energy, toxicity, what is toxic in my life. When you've identified what that is, for example, if you're working with crystals, it almost doesn't matter what the crystal is, because intuitively you'll know the right one to get anyway. And then attune the crystal to what you, or tell it what you want it to do. Make this crystal be, this is the crystal that's going to help me with beating sugar, or whatever it is, okay? And obviously then tune into it. you do know. I've never done a crystal. I have actually occasionally done mini day crystal courses, but I've never actually done an official crystal course where I've been trained by anybody. I'm just self-learned. We can all do that because you are the crystals as well, basically. It's like you and they are one. We're all part of everything. So when I came down with this UTI, the first crystal I went to was unakite, and Nephrodite jade. I just felt like, yeah, I think they're the ones I need. Look up the meaning, bingo, perfect for both, perfect for what I was going through. We know this stuff. So what I'm trying to say is trust your own intuition. You do know what you need. You can be working with cards to get messages. Journaling would be a really good thing to do right now, because remember this thing with Mercury and Chiron, communication, write it out. Write out, ask your inner child to speak. Allow her or him to speak. Put it onto a letter. Let her speak. If there's a lot of pain and whatever released, that's great. Don't then reread it. Burn it safely. Dispose of it safely. Let it go. The process of letting it go. Because I work with colour energies, of course, the sprays that I would particularly recommend would be, I talked about the emerald being very good for detox generally, and I have been using this. So emerald for renewal and recovery, and emerald also the one which is about the deepest wound, where the deepest healing, that which you think cannot be healed. Emerald will help you with that. And then because we're talking inner child, I think I'll pull some cards for the inner child now. Rose, inner child, and water elemental. How peaceful those colours are. I will just say, guys, thank you very much for everybody that bought sprays, particularly from the top 10 video that I did. We've got loads of orders in. They're all going to be processed as soon as possible. But you might not have heard that it's just one thing after another in the UK at the moment. The latest is that the Royal Mail was subject to a cyber attack. And at the moment we cannot, no business in the UK can send any parcels abroad. It's only a temporary blip whilst they recover whatever's happened with this cyber attack. It does not, it's not linked into my website or anybody's addresses, anything like that. It's the Royal Mail. It's a countrywide attack. So there's nothing I can do about that. Please just bear with us and be patient. You can still order, but it's going to take longer to get your orders to you. Okay, so that's just the reality of the times we're in right now. But Metatron always says there's a divine timing to when you do receive sprays anyway. But yeah, these two would be nice. Now I'm going to pull an inner child card from a lovely deck that I got sent from one of you. It's a lady called Natasha Hund. I will put her website below. She's in Australia. She sent me some beautiful crystals from Australia. And she's also done a deck that links into, well, they're called playful healing cards. I think, for helping children heal, but I'm going to use them as an inner child deck. So I'm going to pull a couple of cards for us, for our inner child, linking in particularly to everything that I've been talking about in this video. And oh wow, did you see that? Did you just see that? It literally flew out of the deck. Wow. We've got breathe it out, breath work. Breathe it out. I haven't done it yet, but actually I'm really wanting to do the Wim Hof breathing method and look more into that. I'm a big fan of Wim Hof, but again, it's like I get what he does, but I haven't actually done it myself yet, although I've got the sea at the end of the road. So yeah, but this is about breathing. Breathe it out. The other one that is on the top of the deck is this one. It says, "This is me." What I love about that is it's a blank canvas. Breathe it out. This is what this Aquarian new moon is doing. It's giving us the chance to breathe out the old template, the old pattern, to create a blank canvas so we can go into the future anew. It doesn't mean we can't take what we love with us. That's not what I'm saying. But, the other thing I would say about breathe it out, there probably isn't a card in this deck that says it, but I'd want one which also says "wee it out." I mean, again, with UTI, you know, this is the whole thing. It's like you just gotta, sorry to be gross, guys, but it's just flushing it through the body. Water to flush through the body. So I'm just looking up there because I'm thinking, I hope that's not a water leak up there. I don't think it is. There's a lot of watery energy in the UK at the moment. I'm sure in lots of other places. I just saw a card that said crying, but I've shuffled past it. So yeah, crying, breathe it out, wee it out. And this one's just fallen out as well. Oh, I love these cards, Natasha. I think they're absolutely beautiful. Look at that. Favourite toy. What was your, as a kid, what was your favourite toy? Have you still got it? Do you know, I had a teddy, Big Teddy was called, very creative name, I know, but, and I kept him for years, and it was one of those things when my mum kept a lot of my stuff, you know, before I had my own place. And this sounds very brutal, I'm not meaning to judge my mum, but I remember, I think she threw him out because she got fed up of, it sounds horrible to her. Maybe she had my permission at the time, she might have done. She probably did, I don't think she'd have done it then. But the thing is now, it's like, why the hell did I get rid of Big Ted? Because that's my inner child. Would love a cuddle with him again, but of course he's there in the astral. So if you haven't got your childhood teddy or whatever it is, why don't you get yourself one? In all seriousness, get yourself one. But it doesn't have to be a teddy. Look at that little boy. He's just loving, exploring with his two little dinosaurs. It's really nice. One more card. Let's have one more card from here. What else have we got going on? God, this is bringing back a memory as well. Can you see that? He's playing with mud pies or something. I remember making mud pies at the bottom of our cottage garden. And my mother hates mud, even to this day. She's like, ugh, you know, and I've inherited that. How ridiculous. My inner child loved playing in that mud. Okay? So just go and do it. I'm going to be doing that this year anyway. We've got a vegetable patch which we're starting up. So I'm going to be, again, I've got this thing about mud and frogs jumping out at me and worms. Ooh. But I'm going to be like the arrow that pushes through it because my inner child wants me to. My adult self actually wants me to. And then there's something amazing that can come from it. Fresh vegetables, beautiful flowers that can be grown. You know, let's get past these words that other people might have said to us without even realising what they were saying, because it was their stuff anyway. But there was a card here, I've just put it back in the deck, which I saw, which was copying. Because the thing is, we copy behaviours for good and bad, don't we? So again, it comes back to be the best role model you can for your own inner child. Let's end with the inner child spray. Rose. Let's try and get the card. Okay. There's in my Metatron deck, there's a inner child card. He's saying show that one as well. This is the evolution card. This is us in the womb. It's like we're returning back to the womb to birth the new. But the card I actually wanted to show you was this one. That's Archangel Metatron with your inner child. And it says, hear and know me. Look at the way he's smiling at you, where he's smiling at you. The angels are ready to hear what your inner child wants to say. Metatron is ready to hear what your inner child has to say. You can write a letter to Metatron with this new moon that's coming through. Tell him your fears. Tell him what happened. Tell him what you need now that might not have been given to you back then for whatever reason. And at its heart, probably there would be an absence of love and support. So allow yourself to be held in the pink ray of love. Allow the pain to be washed away in the water. Allow yourself to play. Allow yourself to feel comfortable with the new you that is emerging. I'm going to leave it there. Much love. Take care of yourself. I'll be back soon. If you've liked this video, please like it, share it. I appreciate all of your support and all of your love. Thank you. My little girl says thank you too. Thank you, thank you. Take care. Love you. Bye.